What's good? What's good? I'm back. Yours truly, one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and much, much more. As I've noted, I've done a change up to my podcast. Basically, in the morning, I'm gonna do sports updates and analysis for NBA and NFL. And I'm also going to be live on TikTok, which I'm live over here to the right, and I'm live over here to the left on Bingo Live, which I went live for the first time yesterday. I had about 100 and something viewers with 0 followers. So that's pretty good. I can't complain about that, you know. So we're also pre-recording for YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, BitChute, and then got an audio version of the podcast, which goes to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and much, much more. A bunch of games last night. There's only like a week left in the NBA season. So I'm going to go over last night's games and the box scores, and then check out the updated standings from there. First game was Milwaukee played Detroit Pistons, beat them 126 to 117, as they should. Chris Middleton gave you 34 points, 21 from Giannis. Oh, my bad. Giannis didn't play. Bobby Portis gave you 21, 24 from Brook Lopez, and 22 from Javon Carter. And Drew Holiday didn't play either. And without Giannis and Drew Holiday, the Bucks should have still won with Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, Grayson Allen, Javon Carter. Pistons are just too young. They're just too inexperienced right now. Right now, they're playing for experience. Jaden Ivan gave you 32 for the Pistons. Killian Hayes gave you 14, 18 from Jalen Duren, who's a pretty good draft pick as well. James Wiseman gave you 14. Marvin Bagley gave you 16. And they're going to be an interesting team next year because they'll get a very high draft pick. I mean, they could end up getting Victor Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson, and they got Cade Cunningham coming back. I mean, they could have a real one of those things we call a good problem. Dallas played the Pacers, beat them 127 to 104. Tim Hardaway Jr. gave you 13, Reggie Bullock 11, Kyrie Irving 16, 25 from Luka, along with 6 assists and 7 rebounds, and 20 from Jaden Hardy off the bench. Then the Pacers, you got Benedict Mathurin gave you 26, who's going to watch out for him next year. He's going to be a real good player unless he does like Scotty Barnes and kind of takes a step back. Then you had 17 from Andrew Nembhard. TJ McConnell gave you 15. You didn't really get much from the Pacers. Rockets played the Knicks, and they got spanked by the Knicks, as they should. The Knicks are a very, very stable, very, very stable team right now. I wouldn't say they're a contender. They're not going to, they might not even make it past the first round, but they're a very stable team right now. And that's all you need right now from the Knicks is stability, and then build from there. We had 26 from Kevin Porter Jr., 19 from Jalen Green, 18 from Kenyon Martin Jr., a lot of 12s, 13, 11, 14. I mean, a lot of the Rockets scored in double figures. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cats scoring double figures, which you want to see. But you just got Manuel Quickly put up 40, 26 from Julius Randle, 19 from R.J. Barrett. That's the thing, though. Like, Emmanuel Quickly's he's still kind of young. This is only his second year in the league. He's out of Kentucky. Kentucky cats they just seem to pan out, man. Kentucky dudes seem to ball in the pros. And Knicks, I mean, they don't even got Jalen Brunson and Derrick Rose right now. Jalen Brunson has definitely been a stabilizer and a lot better than most people were banking on coming into this year. I could only imagine how good Dallas would be if they had Jalen Brunson. Next game, we got the Suns and the Jazz. Suns won 117 and 103, which they should have. 24 from Devin Booker, 14 from DeAndre Ayton, so he's back. Chris Paul gave you 9 points, 10 assists. And, a few cats off the bench scored 12, 11, 13 from Terrence Ross. And that's the thing. There's still going to be interesting come playoff time when you got Terrence Ross, TJ Warren coming off the bench with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and Kevin Durant. Utah, Lauri Markkanen came back, put up 25. You got 18 from Walker Kessler, 16 from Taylor Horton Tucker. And they still got a lot of cats out. My bad. Not Jalen, but Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton. They're out. And those are two of their top 3 scorers, I would say. 2 of their top 3 scorers right now. Sixers played the Nuggets. These are the kind of games that decide the MVP race. These are the kind of games, because who won? The Denver Nuggets. And who did Denver beat last game? The Bucks. These are the kind of games that are going to decide the MVP race in the long run. So Jokic in the last week has beat Giannis and Embiid. And I think he's got to play Giannis again, and then Giannis has to play Embiid. Denver won 116 and 111. This is the thing, though. Joel Embiid didn't play. But it still doesn't bode well for the MVP race. Tyrese Maxey gave you 9. James Harden didn't play, and that's all you really got. Tobias Harris gave you 16. Denver, you had 15 from Michael Porter Jr., 12 from Aaron Gordon, 25, 17 rebounds, and 12 assists from the Joker, a.k.a. Nikola Jokic, because he's the Joker. 19 from Jamal Murray with 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 18 from Bruce Brown. They're going to be a good team come playoff time. Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who has championship experience, Jamal Murray, Bruce Brown, old man Jeff Green still be doing his thing. They're gonna be a scary team. New Orleans Pelicans played the Blazers, beat them 124-90, as they should. I was high on the Pelicans coming in at the beginning of the season. I said at the beginning of the season that I thought the Pelicans had probably the best big 3 in the NBA when healthy with C.J. McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and Zion Williamson. I mean, that's a legit big 3 when you're talking about scoring. Maybe not on the defensive end, but on scoring, that's definitely, Zion still ain't back yet. Brandon Ingram put up 29, 16 for Trey Murphy. Jonas Valanciunas put up 6 with 21 rebounds, 21-piece wing dinner on the rebounds, and 2 blocks. 17 from C.J. McCollum and 8 assists. They don't even got Zion right now. And they still got Dyson Daniels, Josh Richardson, Larry Nance coming off the bench. I like the Pelicans. This idea that you should trade Zion Williamson, I got a drink on that one real quick. Stop it. Portland, you got, nobody really started, man, but Shaden Sharp. Nasir Little, former Tar Heel, gave you only 7 points. Shaden Sharp's definitely getting some nice crunch time, but he only gave you 12 points. 20 from Keon Johnson off the bench. Kevin Knox gave you 15. Cam Reddish getting a lot of minutes right now with Damon Lillard out, Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, Justin Winslow, and Yusuf Nurkic. And he still ain't even putting up no big numbers. Cam Reddish, man, stop it, man. Like, how more do you got to prove yourself? You've had plenty of time to prove yourself. You're on a team right now that missing like 4 or 5 starters, and you still can't even put up no points. I mean, what's going on here, man? Like excuses. What's the solution? All right, we got 2 more games to go over. Timberwolves beat the Kings. This is why I'm not really sold on the Kings. Jaden McDaniels gave you 20. Kyle Anderson gave you 15. Karl Anthony Towns missed another game already. Rudy Gobert gave you 16 points and 16 rebounds with 2 blocks. I mean, what more do you want from Rudy Gobert? 17 from Anthony Edwards with 7 assists, 5 rebounds, and 16 points from Mike Conley and 14 from Jalen Noel. Kings, former Tar Heel Harrison Barnes gave you 19. Domantas Sabonis gave you 24 and 10, double-double. 13 from Kevin Huerter and 29 from De'Aaron Fox, but there was a lot of negatives going on. -7 for Domantas Sabonis, -7 for Huerter, and -1 for De'Aaron Fox. And I would say that's their 3 best players right now: De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, and Domantas Sabonis. Bulls lost to the Clippers. I heard a thing the other day. They talking about Patrick Beverley changed the fortunes of the Bulls. He's changed the culture overnight. I can't tell. DeRozan gave you 21. Patrick Williams gave you 16. 20 from Nikola Vucevic. And 13 for Zach LaVine. Patrick Beverley gave you only 9 points. Kobe White, 7, former Tar Heel. Probably will get traded in the offseason. Nicholas Batum gave you 24 for the Clippers, and it looked like he was done and over with at Charlotte Hornets, or maybe he just didn't like playing in Charlotte because we were losing, so he wasn't playing hard. Kawhi Leonard gave you 22. Eric Gordon gave you 22. 12 and 10 from Russell Westbrook. 13 from Bones Highland. Love the name, man. He's going to end up being my favorite player in the NBA, Bones Highland. Yeah, you got a lot of well-balanced. Terrence Mann only gave you 8. But Terrence Mann, it's only his 3rd year in the league. He's out of Florida State. Florida State always puts out real good defensive players. All right, let me go over the standings real quick, see if anything's changed. I called it. Golden State would fall out the 8th. Minnesota fell into the 6th seed. Golden State fell down to the 7th. And I think they're going to fall even further down. I really think they are. I got New Orleans going up to at least the 7th or the 6th. 6th or 7th seed for New Orleans. Because New Orleans just doesn't seem to be losing right now. Okay. Memphis is at the number 2, Denver at number 1, Milwaukee number 1, Boston. Everything's pretty much still the same. Nothing's really, really changed. Let me pull up some NFL, see if there's anything major. Even if there's not, I want to talk about Lamar Jackson's note to his fans yesterday. Mock draft, they got 4 teams trading up into the first round. Packers first round pick not necessary in Rodgers trade. Seems like they just want to get rid of Aaron Rodgers if a first round. If you're going to tell me Aaron Rodgers ain't worth a first round pick, I'm going to tell you dumb it in a bag of bricks. But it's a whole nother story to just say you just want to get rid of him and get him out the building and get some assets for him. Lamar Jackson posted something to his fans. Basically said that he requested a trade 26 days ago. There's a couple of things going on here. Is Lamar Jackson worth a fully guaranteed contract? If we're comparing it to Deshaun Watson getting it, then I would say yes. And I think that's partially why Lamar Jackson fully thinks he deserves this contract is because we got somebody trying to call it. Decline that. So he came out around the same time as Deshaun Watson. He won a Heisman Trophy over Deshaun Watson one year in college. He was competing with Deshaun Watson for the Heisman every year, pretty much, when he was at Louisville. So I think he's always going to, compare himself to Watson. So let's think about it. Has Deshaun Watson been to the playoffs? I think maybe once, and they lost. Lamar Jackson's been about twice, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 times. He's won one playoff game, if I'm not mistaken, and lost like 2 or 3. He's won more. And that's the thing. Deshaun Watson had DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt. It wasn't like the Texans had some scrub team a few years ago when Deshaun Watson and D-Hop was over there. It wasn't, but it was when they traded D-Hop when things started to just go downhill. So also Lamar Jackson, has he had any kind of allegations outside of football? Has he got any kind of trouble, any kind of legal issues? No. And you also have to take that in account of signing contracts. And the Browns, man, were desperate. They were desperate. They were so desperate. They've been like the clowns of the NFL for most of my lifetime. Them and the Lions. The Lions actually gotten better, and the Browns have actually gotten better now. They're decent. They're respectable now. But before they were just like poorly ran clown programs. So you got that aspect. And Baltimore's not a clown organization. Baltimore Ravens came in around the same time as Carolina Panthers, if I'm not mistaken. They've won 2 Super Bowls already. And this is the thing, somebody made a great point. Baltimore has won a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco, a.k.a. Joe Flacco. Like, Baltimore is convinced that they can win Super Bowls with average or below average quarterbacks. Because Trent Dilfer was just probably a below average quarterback, maybe average. And Joe Flacco was just average when he won. And as soon as he won, he got the big contract. And because I looked at Joe Flacco as like a 1-year Eli Manning. He just balled out for one good year and won the Super Bowl. And this is the thing. Baltimore has always been built on defense and running. The same thing that the 85 Bears were pretty much built on, the Chicago Bears. And Chicago Bears for most of my lifetime, besides 1985 and maybe a little bit after 85, have been a clown organization. I was a diehard Bears fan in 1985. As a kid, the 3 most popular things as a kid, entertainment-wise, was Michael Jackson, Prince, and Chicago Bears, 1985. There was no entertainers bigger. Maybe Elvis too, but I hated Elvis. My mom loved Elvis. I hated Elvis. I was a Michael Jackson, Prince, and Chicago Bears fan. And then a little bit of Smurfs and Dukes of Hazzard in there as well. Throwing the Smurfs because I got a picture of me wearing a Dukes of Hazzard t-shirt, on my Smurfs 3-wheeler with some bell-bottom jeans and a Luke Skywalker haircut. But so Lamar's probably looking at it like Deshaun Watson. He's compared to Deshaun Watson. But you also got to compare it to Baltimore to the Clowns, the Cleveland Clowns. And the Ravens are not a desperate organization. And the Browns are not the kind of organization that gets to dictate new standards in the NFL, new precedents. You know, then I think about all these other quarterbacks that are greater than Lamar Jackson. That like Patrick Mahomes ain't got no fully guaranteed contract. Aaron Rodgers ain't getting no fully guaranteed contract, I don't think, on his last joint. No, it's just Deshaun Watson. And then you got Deshaun Watson's the only one with a fully guaranteed. And Kirk Cousins is the only one with a guaranteed, which is a difference. And Kirk Cousins now has kept the Vikings in the playoffs almost every year. Contending for the division almost every year, and a respectable team almost every year. But even though I think they got to move on for him, and that's the thing. Like the Vikings are supposedly one of the teams that are interested in Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson might need to be willing to take the Kirk Cousins guaranteed contract instead of the fully guaranteed. And this idea, like. This is the thing. This idea that every young quarterback that's up for a contract is just supposed to become the highest paid just because they're up for a contract. It's some complete horseshit, some bullshit. It's so bogus. Like Kyler Murray, he shouldn't have got the money he got. They 4 wins this year. He got all that money for 4 wins. If he does one more season like that, he's gone. He's out the door. They need to stop paying these guys based off of one season. Even Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts. But I got to see you at least contend to win the division and be in the playoffs. If the Eagles don't even make the playoffs next year, there's no way I give Jalen Hurts the full bag. Like everybody talking about, give him the bag, give him the bag. No, you don't get the whole bag. You get some of the bag. I got to see you do it 2 years straight. I got to see consistency. Because I can tell you right now, the NBA ain't paying cats to just, like, unless you're the Washington Wizards, which is dumber than a bag of bricks that they paid Bradley Beal this much money this long of a time, because Bradley Beal clearly only cares about money. He don't care nothing about winning. Bradley Beal don't give a rat's ass about winning. If Bradley Beal told me to the face he cares about winning, I would tell Bradley, I'll poke him in his eye like one of the Three Stooges and tell Bradley Beal to his face, you're a bold-faced liar. You're a bold-faced liar. Because if you cared about winning, Bradley Beal, you could have demanded a trade by now. Now, Damian Lillard cares about winning, but he cares about winning a certain way, the what quote unquote the as they call the right way. But there's no right way or wrong way to win championships. There's no one way to win championships. You either win championships or you don't. There's no right way or wrong way to doing it, unless you cheated the whole way there. But Lamar Jackson also has to look at the market. I mean, let's look at all the teams. First, let's look at the teams that would be interested probably in Lamar Jackson. New England, maybe the Jets. I don't know why Steelers could be interested all they want. They would never trade him in the division. Tennessee Titans, Colts, Texans, Broncos for Russell Wilson. I don't know. Commanders. The Bears ain't, because they clearly have showed they're going all in on Justin Fields right now. Falcons. Buccaneers. I mean, the Buccaneers, if they were so interested, they wouldn't even sign old boy, Baker Mayfield. I think the Buccaneers feel like Baker Mayfield and what they got, they could possibly win the division. I mean, you got Carolina Panthers, my Carolina Panthers, which I don't even know what the hell they're doing. The Saints, I mean, they got Derek Carr and Kamara and Michael Thomas hopefully coming back healthy, but that should be enough for them to win the division. But let's see. None of these other teams would be interested. Now you got to go the teams that are interested. Which teams can afford him? Because Baltimore apparently wants 2 first rounds, and he wants a fully guaranteed contract. So who can afford 2 first rounds and a fully guaranteed contract? No one. No one can afford that. And not still have a team, a viable team around him to win. Like, maybe a guaranteed contract at the Vikings. And I didn't say the Vikings. The Vikings, they said, took interest. But they would have to trade Kirk Cousins, probably. I don't even know if Ravens probably would take Kirk. They probably had to trade Kirk Cousins, a first round pick, a second round pick, and maybe a pick swap, and give a fully guaranteed contract to. How they gonna do that when they got Justin Jefferson that they got to pay a contract to? Justin Jefferson is definitely getting the bag. That's the thing too. Can they afford it? Can they afford to give away this much and still win? Commanders, if they get away 2 first round picks and give away a fully guaranteed contract, are they going to be able to win games? Are they going to have enough on offense to win games and enough on defense to stop any team from? I don't think so. I mean, the defense is not too bad. It's not too bad. They drafted I forgot his name. They drafted old boy recently. Let me look up the roster. Who's the cat they drafted recently? Where's he at? Where is the cat they drafted? It was on defense. Yeah, I can't think of his name right now, but I'm not seeing it, man. I'm not seeing, like, if he goes there, that they're just. I mean, I don't know, man. I think Lamar Jackson and a lot of these sports announcers and analysts are overvaluing Lamar Jackson a little too much. I think they're just throwing this Deshaun Watson fully guaranteed contract out there a little too much when the Browns were desperate. I mean, the Browns have never had a lot of big time quarterbacks. The biggest quarterback you could name from the Browns is Bernie Kosar. Deshaun Watson is a bigger name than any name they pretty much had there. And they're banking on putting all the marbles on Deshaun Watson. And I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to pan out. And that's the thing. The Deshaun Watson contract doesn't pan out. Lamar Jackson definitely doesn't have nothing to hold his hat on with a fully guaranteed. This fully guaranteed contract is either going to be the norm or an outlier based on if Deshaun Watson wins games next year. Deshaun Watson don't win no games for the Browns next year. This isn't going to be the norm. It's just going to be an outlier. In order for this contract to be the norm of contracts, Deshaun Watson has to win games, everybody. Is any sports analyst, sports debater putting that into the equation? Are they using common sense and common knowledge and applying it that this contract is only going to be a normal contract or an outlier based on if Deshaun Watson wins games? And if he doesn't win games next year, no NFL team is going to be reluctant to just pay a fully guaranteed contract to somebody who can't win games. And this ain't the NBA. They want it to be. They're trying to get it there, but none of these contracts ever be fully guaranteed. These players get too hurt. There's too many injuries, for, like, I don't know no other business where they're paying you full-time hours and you might not even work the whole year, but sports. Ben Simmons wanted to get his contract fully guaranteed. Well, he purposely sat out. He intentionally sat out. I don't know where else where you could just go and sit out and still get paid. Everywhere else you get fired, man. You get fired everywhere else on the fucking planet, man. If you sit there, you just say, "Oh, I'm not going to work because I'm not getting paid enough. I'm not going to go to work." You know what they say? Okay, bye, burn the road. We'll just hire somebody else to do that job. That's what will happen. But we're living in this. I gotta say it. This woke society. This woke society where people think they should get paid even when they don't work. Like this, wanting to go to 30 hours a week but get paid for 40. It won't work for me. You won't work for me. You think you're gonna get paid for 40 hours a week but only work 30? Well, I work 7 days a week. 7 days a week, man. So yeah, Lamar, man. And you know what? And I know people saying, well, other NFL players don't have typical agents. Not quarterbacks. You can't name no other quarterback in the NFL but Lamar Jackson that doesn't have a legit agent. And your mommy and your daddy being your agent means they're going to be biased. So biased with this negotiation. You got to be negotiations. You got to be willing to come down at some point, I don't think like your mommy or daddy should be negotiating your NFL contract. I don't think your mommy or daddy understands how this works. They're just going to try to get as much money as they can without willing to come down any. They're just going to put their own value and worth on their own kid that ain't necessarily the value or worth that the NFL puts on them. Because parents always put more value on their kids than they're worth. I'm sorry, I hate to say that. Parents always put more value on their kids than they're worth because they're biased. They're going to have a biased outlook with this. And yes, the regular agent is supposed to get you the most money, And yes, they work for the player, but they're not going to come in with such of a biased mentality. Your parents are they're gonna be biased, man. Plain and simple, man. They're not gonna be willing to negotiate the right way because they're gonna put value on their kid that everybody else doesn't put on their kid. They're gonna put more value on their kid because it's their kid. It's like the parent that their kid commits a crime and they be like, no, he couldn't have did this. No way. No, that's not how we raised him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it's just a biased mindset. Parents always got a biased mindset. So I don't think your parents should be negotiating all your deals. Parent and family and business doesn't always bode well. Doesn't always go well. It doesn't always pan out the way you think. So once again, I thank you for tuning in, Paul Pickett Podcast, and I'm out.